This time on Steel Pushers.
Unfortunately, marketing is not necessarily where you're going to get a direct sale from.
Regardless if you're in print, media, digital, it's the same objections. It's always going to be about trust.
Why would we change our trajectory
Yeah.
if our trajectory is going up?
I think we're slowly but surely getting a nice little community out there of listeners. And I think that was probably the driving force as to why we did change it up. We don't want to go flat. And I think what we'll try to bring to this is a lot, as you said, the knowledge that you and I both have from different worlds kind of coming together and how we make it work so well like we do.
And I suppose the reason I have you on the show is because you are kind of a direct conduit to the machinery sellers, because you are talking to them day in, day out, aren't you?
That's it. I think we have a lot of different mediums in our workplace. We talk to everyone from high up to down low, and my world really is that average Joe, your neighbour selling who knows what and everything in between that.
Because one of the questions I wanted to ask for this episode was why people don't trust marketing and advertising. We see it time and time again where if we're talking to somebody who needs to sell machinery and they consider us, I suppose, a marketing channel or an advertising channel, there's so much uncertainty and we have to spend so much time just making our customers feel at ease before they make the decision to advertise with us. And I dare say that it happens in every channel: print advertising, radio advertising, TV advertising, Google ads. The salespeople on the other side of it have their work cut out for them, because there are so many reasons why our sellers, the machinery industry at large, it's like they don't trust marketing.
100%.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's exactly as you said there, regardless if it's digital marketing, if it's print marketing, TV, radio. If we were to be a salesman in any one of those avenues, we'd probably have the exact same objection and conversation as to, it's so hard to just get someone to trust what we are offering. So I guess when we've spoken about this previously, we've always treated digital marketing as the baby or the newer version of all of this. But once you scratch the surface and start to, analyze it, it's the same thing, different day, different product. We're having the exact same problems that we would have if we were in a different market too. And I think there's bigger issues to the surface level objections. Digital marketing, it's a little bit new. I'm not sure if it works. How do I, ROI, how are you going to prove that to me?
I think probably the leading reason is that people have been burned in the past trusting or new adopting certain types of advertising. And I think that's true because we see it over and over again where social media or their own social media channels will be where they put their time and their effort. And I suppose the outcome is easier to palate because, well, if it doesn't work, didn't put any in.
I can cop that.
I can cop that. But as soon as you got to put $1 behind it, there's sort of a disproportionate amount of risk associated with it. And I want to have the conversation about, okay, well, what does ROI really mean, and is that the right place for you to focus? Because I can see as much benefit in the phone ringing as I can the number of people seeing your brand and your listings. So we always have to have that conversation about, well, what does ROI mean to you?
To you. Well, it's case by case, isn't it? So you just hit the nail on the head.
It is case by case, but unfortunately, marketing is not necessarily where you're going to get a direct sale from, because it's so far removed from the actual sales process. I think there's sort of a disproportionate amount of expectations on ROI where you put in $1, you expect to get 5. That is the right attitude to have. It does place a lot of responsibility on what I would consider a passive form of selling,
Yeah.
especially when you've got sales people involved.
From a sales perspective and from my training, and especially from a lot more of my background in the ruthless cold calling era, funnily enough, one thing that we used to say as an analogy is don't treat marketing as a direct sales lead generator.
Really?
And it's what you just said there. Think of marketing, your perception, Mr. Customer, if that is your philosophy, is thinking that I can go to an ATM and I can put $1 in and I'll get $5 back. And if I do that 5 times, I'm going to have more and more money. And why don't I do it 10 times? It's never going to be that easy. And it is exactly like you say, there is a blurred line sometimes because a lot of people will only remember the good, not the bad. They won't remember what it took to get to that lead. But then when they sell that lead for $20,000, they'll go, oh, shit, that was easy. I might as well just do it again so I can make another 20,000.
It probably comes back to when they're first starting businesses too. Like you start a business and it's you, right?
Yeah.
Or it could be you and your brother. Then you bootstrap it. You don't borrow any money. Every dollar that comes in, you always make sure you bank 20 cents of. You get to the point where you are everything in the business, but you're the salesperson, and your own personal brand and the relationships that you build in trying to push your brand out there becomes the only marketing that you do. So what happens at pretty much the same time is that you look at taking on your first employee, which is usually a salesperson, right?
Yeah.
That salesperson then starts going, well, I need to get more business to then sell because you're asking me to sell and that's how I'm going to earn more money. So the next step is you're going to have to start looking at marketing. So that attitude, and we're talking about SMEs now, but that attitude when things first started where if every dollar I put in, I have to get something out of, otherwise I can't pay the next person that I hired, has put so much risk on the whole idea of marketing and advertising that I don't blame people in our industry for not trusting any of these advertising channels. And there are some dodgy people out there, but really, I think the majority of advertising channels and marketing can be a bit of a gamble. And it's, you get out what you put in, but at the end of the day, you've really got to consider, okay, where is the bang for buck that I'm going to get? How sure am I that I'm going to get that bang for buck? And therein lies the problem where if we're talking to our customers and utilizing machines for you as an advertising channel, I don't blame them for turning around and going, well, how can you prove that I'm going to get the ROI that I need to actually afford this?
Yeah.
And on our side, we think, okay, well, compared to all the other different forms of advertising, we're quite cheap. And I can't help but go home at night and go, actually, yeah, I get it. I get it. If I want to put $1 in and I'm struggling to grow my business or I still have that mentality, of course I'm going to. Why wouldn't I think like that?
Yeah.
One of the other things that I think puts a lot of people off or makes a lot of our customers nervous about marketing and advertising is the fact that it's perhaps not their expertise. So
they're learning.
You're coming up through building your business. You're starting it off. You're pretty much the salesperson because you need to sell the first, 100 sales just to get the money in the bank, just to start paying yourself a salary, just to start hiring the next person. There's 2 roles in the business that you need outside help for. Number 1, you got to get a bookkeeper so you can understand the money. That's an easy one. People are like, yep, I just need to get somebody who knows how to run a spreadsheet, understands Xero or the accounting system. I just have to do that.
Someone good with numbers, please.
The marketing one is that, well, I kind of understand marketing, but I don't also. So I'm now in this position where I can almost do it myself, but I don't know enough. So I need to hire an expert, but I don't know what sort of expert do I need. So I think that's why I see so many receptionists come up into marketing because they're the type of role, and that's no disrespect because that's the type of role where you've got a receptionist sitting at the front desk talking to everybody, every customer coming in. They've been there for 4 or 5 years and then no shit. you're going to put them in front of your marketing.
Why wouldn't you? Imagine the product knowledge from 4 years. Not only product knowledge from the inside, but then your audience. Who knows your audience better than the person who's greeted every one of them for the
100%.
last 5 years?
And so then you get somebody who might not necessarily be classically trained up in the skill of marketing, and then you start to dabble in the marketing, and you do something that somebody else has told you. Perhaps you're doing a bit of networking. Somebody else says, "Oh, you got to go over here," and you got to. All of that word of mouth is just your uncertainty in how to market because you've been burned in the past.
I feel sometimes that marketing doesn't get the respect it deserves because it doesn't have as big a platform through education as other things, or because it is a little bit newer. Do you think that's why a lot of people don't go to school for marketing but go into marketing from other avenues? And is there a bit of a new wave coming now with a lot more education behind marketing?
The answer to that question is that there are a number of tertiary education that you can do from a marketing perspective. And there's not a lot of sales tertiary education that you can do.
Yeah.
There's business for sure, but there's not specifically sales. I always say that there's never really a university for salespeople.
No.
And that's why sales coaching is so prevalent.
Yeah.
And that's why my job as sales manager is what got my work cut out for me to make sure I can train and coach, because sometimes you get somebody coming in who's got the gift of the gab and they've got a natural ability, but it needs to be honed so you don't end up with that burning of the bridges.
Yeah.
But with the marketing, while you can study, not everybody does study. Now, I need to put a caveat on this because I didn't study any marketing.
Ah, Michael.
I did it through kind of the back door where I started in the communication side of things as a graphic designer. And I was lucky enough to be influenced by some pretty heavy hitters in marketing coming up. And I, just like the gift of the gab, I was sort of, I had a sort of a natural knack for it. And uncovering that down the track, it was that I had a knack for sales. Anyway, sales spilling into marketing. So to answer your question, while you can study, it's not 100% necessary for you to study marketing because sometimes it's about communications and it's easy to figure out. But that comes back to, again, the uncertainty, because you've got a whole bunch of people just trying to figure it out, including yourselves, Mr. Customer.
Yeah.
You're just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's no wonder that you've tried a few things and they haven't worked. Unfortunately, there is a bit of trial and error when it comes to marketing.
Yeah.
Which is why we're so proud of the product that we have from a marketplace perspective, is because we are so, for better or worse, we're so transparent about the statistics that you get from Machines for You, from how many people saw your ad, how many people clicked through to your virtual showroom, how many and what type of leads come through, just to name a few, because we know that there's so much uncertainty and nervousness about, if I spend my money, how do I know I'm going to get it back, that we have to be that transparent. And it shoots us in the foot because there's two types of marketing. There's direct ROI marketing.
Yeah.
Then there's brand awareness marketing.
Yeah.
But it's probably another reason why I think people don't trust marketing is because it's downstream ROI. You know, you do the marketing, you hope that it works.
Yeah.
Do you have full visibility over whether that actually converted into growing your brand awareness or your business or making that sale? It's not the same as a salesperson who picks up the phone, does his thing, does her thing, makes the sale. It's no wonder that a lot of investment happens in the sales side of things and there's so much hesitation around the marketing side of things.
Because the results can be seen, or sometimes quicker maybe, you know?
From a sale.
From a sale.
You call someone, you make the sale. You
done.
Call someone, you didn't make the sale.
Yeah.
There's a straight sale conversion rate.
And I think, as you said there, with what we show everyone, we kind of show them all our cards. But what that does is it opens up for, oh, well, why does that look like that? Regardless, if you're in print, media, you know, digital, it's the same objections. It's always going to be about trust.
But it's also, on the other side of it, you've really got to consider before you even have a discussion with anybody about marketing or advertising is, do you know all of your numbers ahead of the marketing part of the process? All
Yeah.
right. Do you have your revenue targets? Do you know what all your OPEX is? Do you know how many salespeople you have to feed? Do you know what your margins are? Do you know what your 5-year projections are as much as you know your 12-month projections are?
Yeah.
How are you going to get to that point? If you start to consider it holistically like that, which, hey, I'm sure a lot of business owners do, or almost all will do, if you know that information, that's how you start working back to work out things like marketing budget. And I see it time and time again where you've got businesses who will have done the same marketing for the last 10 years. It's always the same trade show, it's the same magazines. That's because what they did had a positive impact on the business.
Yeah.
It's not if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's don't move a single piece
Because then
because
it might
right
not
now
work.
it's going up.
Yeah. We don't
Do
want to
we
fiddle
know
with
which
it.
part of it's actually working? The reality is you don't know exactly which part of it because that's the nature of marketing and advertising.
Yeah.
But if you get a recipe where the revenue is going up and your expenses aren't going up, then you've got a recipe that's working. So don't change it.
No, and then it's like if we implement you and add that to it,
Are we changing it?
will it go up? What if it doesn't go up, but now the expenses does?
What if it pulls away from something else that we're doing? What if it takes the time away?
Yeah.
So there's and it's a valid argument. There's an argument that if we come along and say, hey, have you thought about using us to get in front of our audience? I say this to our salespeople all the time. It's not a case of course it's a good idea. You don't know that it's not going to go and impact negatively the rest of the business. It's actually going, even if it's not going well, it's not going backwards.
Yeah.
And then that's another place where that hesitancy comes in, where business owner who makes the decision is it's like, well, why would we change our trajectory
Yeah.
if our trajectory is going up?
Yeah. That's powerful.
Why else do you think that people are hesitant to advertise and spend money on marketing?
I think there's a lot of free avenues out there. Everyone wants a quick fix. No one wants the too hard basket.
The quick fix one's a big one for me because marketing is one of those things where you always start marketing too late.
Yeah.
Right? You should have started marketing way before you actually started marketing. Therefore, it's already too late. Therefore, what you're looking to achieve from the dollar that you're spending on marketing is going to have an almost immediate return. And that expectation that it will have an almost immediate return is probably half the reason why people will do short campaigns anywhere. Then they won't do it again. And then they'll put that down to, oh, well, at least we tried that and we knew it didn't work.
Yeah.
But the reality is that the bigger businesses in the world do have a tried and true formula for marketing and advertising.
Yeah.
And it's everything. There's not, you think about like Coca-Cola, Nike, whatever.
Everywhere.
They're everywhere. They're not just with one.
No.
They're with everywhere.
And they're on everything. And they're places they shouldn't be, but they still are. And there has to be method behind the madness there, doesn't there?
It does, but that's a considerable expense to do that. So then coming back to what we were talking about before, where
scalability,
you think about where your numbers are and where they need to be, that's why you've got to think about, okay, all right, where am I going to invest to get that outcome? And that's where it needs to come down to a little bit of faith, but also when you're going through and exploring how to buy advertising and marketing, you've got to make sure that you ask all of those questions and make sure that you've got it right in your head, because at the end of the day, it's the best guess to get it right.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, definitely. From your, obviously we're in the same world, but in two different job roles, what do you think the funniest objection to marketing is that you've ever heard?
Probably that I got too many leads. Because I hear that all the time. I've got too many and I don't know what to do with them. I mean, that's every business owner's issue, that they're always too
What a
busy.
problem to have, eh?
It's an easy one to overcome, but it never sinks in. And it is the, well, are they good leads and how much are you spending on those leads?
Yeah.
Because if you've got 10 leads and they turn into one sale, or you're spending the same amount of money getting 10 leads but you're getting 2 sales, then where's the better investment?
Gotcha.
But that comes back to well, what if I'm getting one sale for every 10 leads right now? What if I change my marketing because I don't want to spend more than what I already have? I'm going to shift my marketing away.
Yep.
What if that becomes 0 sales and I've spent 10 and I've spent the money on 10 leads?
10 leads.
Because the difference
Well, then
between
you can
0
assess.
and 1 is not that much.
No.
It's the same as the distance between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So that risk there that comes in, that really makes sense to me. But yeah, the funniest objection that I still understand is, well, I've already got enough leads. Why would I get more? Who am I to say, no, of course.
Yeah.
It's another way of saying we're happy with what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
That's a hard objection to overcome, because if they're happy with
For
what they're
upselling
doing,
or just in general to keep them?
just you call someone and say, hey, have you considered advertising with the machines for you? And they say,
Well, Michael,
we're right with what we're doing right now. Who are you to argue with that sentiment?
that's where you've got to be a really good salesman, isn't it?
Yeah, but then
gotta
does
ask-
that mean that you're being manipulative and influencing?
It possibly does.
We're
It
going to
possibly
explore more of
does.
this as we go through the rest of the series, because I never want to be in a position where I feel like somebody has come on board with Machines for You and started basically having a business transaction with us.
Yeah.
And they come out the other side of it and go,
No, they're buying a relationship. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, at the end of the day, the product's there. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But, fuck it, in this day and age, all businesses that are succeeding are built off relationships.
100%.
You need to know who you're in bed with, and you need to be comfortable about it. Because otherwise, it nearly might not even matter the result.
That's-
Sometimes.
I would say a lot of the time it doesn't matter about the result. If you trust someone when you go into a marketing partnership, whether it's hiring somebody, whether it's choosing an advertising partner, whether it's deciding on a different form of advertising, if you trust the person that you're going into that relationship with, you can come out the other side and you can both sort of shake each other's hand and go, well, we both gave it a good shot. I trusted you enough to do it,
Yeah.
and I made the decision myself. Then I'm going to look at that and go, okay, I'm not going to say, let's never do that again.
Exactly.
I'm going to say,
I'll see
okay,
you.
how could we have done that better? What else can we try?
Let's revisit it in a year.
That's right. Because
See what you
business
guys
is-
are up to.
Business is ongoing,
Yeah.
right?
100%. Hopefully we'll be able to unpack that with a couple cool guests. That'd be nice.
Absolutely.
Hey?
We're putting together a pretty decent list of guests to come on the show, and you're not just going to hear from our expertise, but
No.
some of the
I
other
might tell
people.
you I know everything, but it's a lie.
I think that's the fastest way to the bottom if you think you already know everything.
Shit, isn't it? Well, I hope we haven't chewed everyone's ear off too much.
We have
Probably. We do like the sound of our own voices.
through these microphones. Thanks, Jacob.
Thanks, Michael.
That was good.
See everyone next time, eh?